scent and taste to the air.
And there was no escaping it.
It polluted everything. The ground was salted in fluorine, which is a highly toxic substance.
In many areas, the sheep actually got fluorine poisoning and died as a consequence of that later on. Some of them within 3 days, but for most of them it took a bit longer time.
Jon recounted how livestock were growing ill and dying.
The snouts, nostrils, and feet of livestock grazing or walking on the grass turned bright yellow and raw.
He was a superstitious man, and all this struck him as a bad sign of things to come.
I read almost everything he's written, and I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm channeling him. He subscribed to that there were spirits and hidden folk in the ground, which a lot of Icelanders to this day believe. And he believed in signs and portents and that kind of thing.
It appears that some people started dying from fluorine poisoning, likely from drinking water or eating food laced with fluorine.
Fluorine poisoning at that level is horrific. People would get mouth sores, their gums would swell and bleed, their teeth would fall out. Inside, there were gastric problems, and their tongues sometimes would fall out.
They were running out of options. Meat was off limits because it would poison them, and crops were no longer growing in the poisoned grass, so they had to resort to extreme measures.
It's called the mist hardships. There's stories of people, boiling and trying to eat their shoe leather and just anything they can put in their mouths because they haven't been able to grow crops. So there was mass starvation all across Iceland, and these villages were just burying, person after person who had lived there.
Icelanders were trapped in a desperate situation with nowhere to go.
Which house did the Harpers used to live in? Oh, right here? This one or that one? Oh, okay. Thank you.
But then there were no effective mechanisms to actually help refugees leaving areas that were damaged.
So people just basically put down their feet and stayed.
There it is, Brenda.
Just floated up.
Across the street from you.
Meanwhile, in Western Europe,
that's
people were beginning to see something strange.
Simpson's house, I think.
Rolling in without explanation.
A fog of a singular kind appeared here, such that it had not been observed by any previous students of nature.
We could look at the sun without getting blinded
Then,
2 hours before
for
sunset.
8 years, I lived in this house right here that is now green.
The country people began to look with superstition.
Wait, is this my house?
At the red mooring aspect.
Yep.
The dark,
I lived in that house for like either 8 or 11 years.
An unwelcome visitor, there from
And
morning.
then my neighbors
to night,
lived right here.
night after night.
The
A
Smiths.
sulfurous odor, very readily perceived by the senses, crawling through everything, even closed houses.
It spread all across Europe, to the UK, France, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Germany. One English poet named William Cowper wrote, "Some declare that the sun neither rises nor sets where he did, and assert with great confidence that the day of judgment is at hand."
A lot of people thought this was the end of the world.
In northern France, the people of one town forced their priest out of bed in the middle of the night so he could perform an exorcism on the fog.
His parishioners were so freaked out about this nasty fog that was lingering day after day. It almost seemed like something cursed.
Here's Bronx and
People didn't know
Talco.
what to make of it.
At first, this was just an abstract fear. I mean, a lingering dark fog that overtakes everything is a pretty ominous thing.
I don't know if you remember the
This fog began
Aubreys,
causing very real
but this is
problems,
their house
as
on the
it had in
corner,
Iceland.
Fred our age.
And their loved ones were finding their
And then here's Mama's house.
Many whom I've left in my parish, well or dead, and many dying.
My street,
The
Pentagon
spirit
and Brock.
rages wherever I've
The
been.
park.
Such multitudes are indisposed by fever in this country that farmers have with difficulty gathered in their harvest. The laborers having been
I don't know if
almost
you
every
ever got to
day
come to
carried
the
out of
park.
field, incapable of work, and many
And then
died.
here's Mama's house. My house that I grew up in.
For the average person in Europe,
I hope you enjoyed your old neighborhood tour.
They had